It's dirty in the middle there, don't mind that. I just got distracted by the amazing shadow, don't mind me. Hey guys, welcome back. So got a video for y'all today all about Profusion Cosmetics. So I have got a bunch of different palettes sitting in front of me. Some of them they sent to me and then some of them I purchased myself. So I'm just gonna run through these different palettes, show you some swatches, let you know my thoughts and my experience working with these palettes, and just kind of my overall thoughts and impressions on these items, but also this brand as a whole. So yeah, let's get into it. So I think what I'm gonna do, since I have so many different palettes to run through with y'all, is just insert some swatches over the top as I'm chatting with you guys about these items, and then I might, you know, swatch just a few on my hand as I'm kind of talking about different things. But you'll get to see swatches, but it might be a little bit different than how I normally do it. So first off, let's chat about this one. This is the Smoky Eyes eyeshadow makeup case. This is what the outside looks like. So it is kind of a plasticky sort of a feeling, but you know, a fairly sturdy, but not like super duper nice quality, but still okay. I believe that these retail for around $7 for this size of a palette from Profusion. So it kind of has that kind of naked palette sort of a layout to it. Looks a little bit at first glance like the Naked Smoky palette, but it really is different because this one has far fewer grayish sort of colors, and it does have some nice neutrals thrown in there and some warm tones as well. So I actually like the layout of this one and the colors included with this one better than like the Naked Smoky. So you do get a nice collection of mattes and shimmers in there. One thing I want to note is the brush that's included. There are brushes in a lot of these palettes, and they're not like total poo brushes. They're actually really nice, like very usable. This one has like one side that is kind of a concealer flat shader brush sort of an end, and then the other side is kind of a fluffy blending brush. And it's like, it's pretty good. Like, I think this is really nice quality. Like, I actually would use this brush and get some use out of it, and it's really nice that you get it included in there and that it's actually usable. So there is a mirror up here. With this one, I'm wearing a whole hodgepodge of things on my eyes and face today. I was just trying to play with as many different things as I could. The thing with this one, I think it has to do with the specific colors. I really, really like Heavenly. I really, really like Devious. But ones like Enchant and Talented aren't my favorites. They're a little bit flaky and powdery. So for those, I'm just not like super in love with those sort of colors. So it's not the whole palette. There are definitely some good ones still in this palette, but there are a few in here that are just kind of not that great. So this one is not one of my favorite palettes that I've tried out from them. So kind of depends. Like this one's $7, but there are others that I'm going to chat with you guys about that are just a few dollars more that I like way more. Next up is this Pro Conceal Contour 19-piece Professional Conceal and Contour Kit. So this is what the outside looks like. I like the packaging on this one because it's squishy feeling, like it's pillowy and squishy, and I just like that about it. I'm not really sure why it's like that, but it is for some reason. Yes. And this is what it looks like. So it's got the two different sides, and there are little like sticky things over the top that you can kind of, you know, pull up and remove. This one I keep ripping for some reason. And then this one, let me get this open. So one side of this palette, this is kind of an interesting collection here. One side is all cream. So this side over here, it's dirty in the middle there. Don't mind that. Obviously I've been using it. So this side over here is all cream. And it's nice that they have the little dividers because I'm not a fan of creams and powders being in the same palette. And really in general, I'm not the biggest fan of potted cream products just in general. I really don't prefer that. But that's what you've got here. You've got some color correctors, you've got some concealers, and you've got some contour situations going on. This side over here, which kind of confuses me, there are highlighters up here which are cream, but they're in the same area as the powder. So I don't love that about it. I wish that they had like somehow fit that over here, but then you do have powder products down here. So there are a couple of highlighters, like powder, I mean, they are a little bit powdery. We're gonna get into that in a second, but powder highlighters, but then you also have cream highlighters, and then you have powder contours, and then you have cream contour, and then you have color correctors and concealers over here. So there are some brushes in here, and again, they are usable. This one has kind of a strange shape to it. It's a little bit flimsy, but it is soft. And then the other one is kind of a larger concealer, could even be a shader sort of a brush. So let's talk about the cream products. I don't hate them. Like, I really don't. But I did layer several of them today. I really like the coverage. I really like the coloring. Like, I used the peach corrector and ivory, and I used the peach corrector under my eyes, and then I used ivory and light concealer just on some spots on my face. And I like the texture of them. I didn't find them difficult to blend, but I could see, like, if I would have used any more under my eyes, it was getting thick, just a little bit too much. So I prefer these for on my face. Like, I really wouldn't use a ton of this under my eyes. I think it would get a little bit heavy. I'm not a big fan of potted cream highlighters, so I really didn't play with those a lot. The powder products, they do kick up quite a bit of product. So I don't know if you can see, but it kind of gets messy in the pan, but I actually really like them on the face. Like, I'm wearing a different highlighter today, but I do have the contour shades on. These blend really well. They're pigmented, but not difficult to blend. So I really like the formula of just how they are to blend. They're just a little bit powdery in the pan, but on the face, I find them very easy to work with. I notice a little bit of fading with the contours, but not a ton. And I do have the highlighters, the beige highlighter, to set my under eyes. And my under eyes are looking a little bit heavy, but I think it's more to do with the cream products than the powder on top of it. So I actually do like this palette and this collection more than I thought I would. But it's almost like I would prefer the corrector things like in some different kind of a form. Like, I like the product, but in a potted form, it's not my favorite. But I am liking this palette, like I said, more than I thought it would. Next up, I have a blush palette that I've been trying out. So this is the Blush 6-Color Blush Palette. Very original name. So this is what it comes with. I do really like the collection of colors in here. There are some colorful shades. There are some very neutrally shades. Speaking on the packaging really quickly, so this is not like, it's like a thin piece of plastic. You can kind of see it like moving. So it's a thin piece of plastic. So it's definitely not as nice of packaging as some of these other items. Like some I'm about to get into are really, really nice. This definitely looks and feels cheap. But I don't mind these blushes. Like, these blend very nicely onto the cheeks. I have this one on today, and it blends well. It's pigmented. It builds on itself well. I don't find these to be patchy. As far as wear time, I do notice a little bit of issue there. They do fade throughout the day. They don't completely disappear, but they do fade. This was $5 though, so I think for $5, it's not that bad. Like, you might have to maybe layer them with a cream product to kind of help with the longevity, or just reapply it halfway through the day. It's kind of up to you, you know, how long you're planning on wearing your blush. You know, if you have some special event, like I wouldn't wear this on your wedding day, but for work or maybe a night out on a date night and, you know, you need it to last, I don't know, 5-6 hours, I think they're fine for that. It's just not going to stick around for 10 hours or something like that. So yeah, for $5, I think this is a pretty good blush palette. It's not my favorite thing here, but I do like it pretty well, especially for $5. Then I have this little set right here, which I kind of totally destroyed getting into, so don't mind that, but that's sort of what it looks like. This is the Profusion Mixed Metals Eyes 9-color eyeshadow palette, eyeshadow primer, blending eyeshadow brush, black eyeliner pencil, and this is in nude. So I really just thought I was getting the palette, and then this came in the mail. So I guess it comes this way. Like, I don't think that they sent me this extra because I ordered this myself. So I think it comes like that. Hopefully I'm not telling you wrong information. So what comes in here, let's just go through this really quickly. This pencil is a no. I tried to use this and it was super scratchy and just was hurting my eyes. So I don't even know about the wear time. I would definitely not use that pencil. It's just too hard. This is very nice. I really like this brush. It's soft. It's workable. It's a good little blending brush. I think it's really good. Totally forgot to use the eyeshadow primer. I'm sorry about that. So I'm not able to really share anything about that. I'll report back to you on that in the future, but I just love my Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer, so I wasn't necessarily like in the market for a new affordable eyeshadow primer because I love that one so much. I was really going for this palette right here. This packaging is so pretty. It's like just a glittery sort of a look to it, and it's kind of reflective. And then you open it up, it's got a really nice mirror to it. This doesn't really set open, but I mean, if you kind of set it up like this, it sort of would. It's just not gonna, you know, does that make sense? Like it'll sit like this, but it's not gonna stay open like that. You know what I mean? Okay, so what you get in here is a really nice collection of mattes and shimmers. It's a very neutrally palette. It's a very warm palette. They have several different options in this mixed metal line. They have like a rose gold one, and then they have, I think, kind of more of a grayish, silvery one that I think even has like some purples, and it's not super colorful, but more so than this is. So yeah, you've got some really nice shadows in here. This is interesting. It smells like baby powder. Yeah, baby powder, like a slightly sweeter version of baby powder to me. So I assume it's purposefully scented. Smells nice, but I just wasn't expecting that. But this is very, very nice. These mattes blend so easily. They are pigmented. They are really easy to work with. Blown away. Like, now that we're getting into more of their shadows, we're really getting into like, this is good stuff. The mattes are just so blendable, pigmented without being patchy and difficult to work with. And then the shimmery shades are just like, what? They are so pigmented and beautiful. And then when you build them up with like some kind of a mixing medium or like MAC Fix Plus or some kind of a setting spray, they're even more intense. They wear well. Like, I always wear a good eyeshadow primer. I don't notice them fading. I mean, maybe a little bit, but really like no more than some even higher end eyeshadows. And I think this set was $10. So just super affordable and really nice quality. I really like this palette. Then I've got a couple of these palettes to show you. I have the Sultry and then I have the Naturals palette. So I had heard great things about the Sultry palette. Packaging on this is so nice. It feels very sturdy, like a very nice thick plastic. It does not feel cheap at all. I'm just really impressed with the packaging on it. It feels just very sturdy and like a thick, good plastic. Even the wording, the lettering is raised, which is really nice, a nice little added detail there. So you open it up and inside you do get another brush, which is really great. And again, it's a usable brush. I mean, it's got the one side that's the flat kind of concealer shader sort of a brush side, and then the blender on the other side, definitely usable. This one I've played with several times, and it's really just going to depend on what sort of colors you want. Like, you know, choosing between these different palettes, I think it's really going to have to do more with which colors you like, because this one is definitely more colorful. There are jewel tones in here, but there are also quite a few warmer shades in here too. So if you like those kind of coppery, orangey, very warm tone sort of eye looks, I think you'd like this palette too. If you like jewel tones, definitely. And these are nice and pigmented. One thing I did notice about this palette is that it takes a little bit to get down into the shadows. Now Ella is a topper, so just kind of know that it's like a duochrome topper. But when I first started using this palette, because I'd heard such great things about it, I was a little bit disappointed because the shimmery shades just didn't seem quite as pigmented as I was expecting them to be. But after using it several times, you really do get down into it and it has a lot more pigmentation. So just know that, like, if you start to use this and kind of go, what? I think you have to get into the shadows a little bit. But like, the mattes are still amazing, super duper blendable. Again, this wears well. I don't notice any significant fading with it. Again, I wear a good primer with it, but I mean, for $10, this is an awesome palette. It's really just going to depend on which colors you're looking for when you're trying to decide between these palettes. Then the Naturals palette, as the name implies, is more on the natural side. So this is more of a neutrally palette. Again, the two-sided brush is included in here. So this is just a really nice collection of a lot of neutral tones. So there are warm tone neutrals, there are taupey cool tone neutrals in here. Again, nicely pigmented, very nice and blendable. The shimmers, they're all of these, the shimmers aren't the most intense shimmers I've worked with. Like, I've worked with some that have more pigmentation than this, but look at that right there. That's a matte. We're talking about the shimmers. I just got distracted by the amazing shadow. Don't mind me. But the shimmers, you may like want to use, if you are wanting the most, well, bam, shimmery look, you may want to use them with a mixing medium to intensify them even more. But for $10, did I mention the Sultry palette in this one? $10. And you just get so many shadows in here. You get a brush, you get really nice packaging, and you get amazing shadows in here. Well, my rude camera cut me off, but I was trying to say, I really feel like the biggest selling point to these palettes are the mattes. Those are the ones that are just so impressive and good, but the shimmers are still really good too. I'm just saying that they're not the most intense that I've ever worked with. And if you want them super intense, you may have to use some kind of a mixing medium to kick them up more of a notch. If you love your highlighters, they've got this palette for you. This is the Strobe and Glow 9 Shade Highlight Palette and Brush. This is what it looks like. Again, really nice sturdy packaging. Just that thick, good plastic. Can you tell I'm really impressed with the packaging on these? I just think they are so nice. Like, for the price point, it's just really good packaging. I just keep talking about the packaging because I think it's really good. This is the same as the Naturals and Sultry, so same kind of packaging on that. Raised lettering, which is really nice. This one's a little bit harder to get into. Like, it's a little bit like tighter on there or something. So this does come with a brush. This isn't completely unusable. It is soft and doesn't feel like bad quality, but it's just sort of a strange shape to it. It makes just too much of like a straight, harsh line. So not bad quality, but just the shape of it, I'm probably not gonna get a ton of use out of it. And it does kind of take up space in the palette, so maybe if they'd put one along the bottom that was like a, I don't know, a smaller fluffy brush or something like that would have been nice, but I'm not mad at it. I mean, at least you get a brush and it's not completely unusable. It's just not my favorite. But that's a tangent. So what you get in here is a really pretty collection of 9 different highlighters. So you have some kind of like peachy, light coppery shades. There are some pretty yellowy, golden sort of colors. Like, this one's very yellow. This one's more of a golden, peachy, light peachy. This one's a duochromy white. And then this one is a pinky tone. So what I like about this palette is that it's pretty creative. Like, if you are just into really neutral highlighters, this probably wouldn't be the palette for you because there are some duochromy shades in here. And like this, I mean, this is a yellow highlight. I mean, it's a light yellow highlight. But there are a couple of neutrally shades in here, like Jolly is pretty neutral, Glazed is pretty neutral, and I just think it's fun. I like that it's a collection of a couple of more neutral highlighters, but quite a few creative fun ones. So I really like that about it. So for $10, you get some fun creativity in here while still having a couple of neutrals thrown in. As far as the texture goes on these, I would compare them to the BH Cosmetics palettes. Like, they have one that's very creative. So it's kind of like that, where they're a sort of thicker powder highlighter. So it's not the best formula. Why was that a hard word for me to think of? Best formula that I've tried in a highlighter, but I still think it's very usable, very workable. I mean, just blends onto the skin really nicely. I don't notice as much fading with these as I noticed with that blush palette. So these seem to stick around on the face a little bit longer. I mean, maybe a little bit of fading by the end of the night, but I notice fading with most everything that I wear on my face. Nothing really lasts the entire day on me, but I think the wear time is still really good on these, especially for the price point. I really like this palette. And then the last palette that I had to show you is my favorite. I love this palette. This is the Eye and Cheek 18 color Eye and Cheek palette and brush. So this is what it looks like. Again, same sturdy, nice packaging. Don't need to talk about that anymore, but it's the same type. Raised lettering. You do get the 2-sided brush in here, same as the Sultry and Naturals palette. So it's the flat side and then the fluffy side once again. I just love this palette. You get so much in here. So as far as shadows, you get a warm section of shadows, and then you get a cool section of shadows. You have really nice mattes, same amazing texture to those. You have really nice shimmers, same sort of texture to those, as I've mentioned before in other palettes. Not the smoky eyes. I feel like the quality of the shadows is better in the Naturals and the Sultry palette and the Mixed Metals palette. So these are the same sort of texture as those. So just really nice blendable mattes, really nice and pigmented shimmers, and then you get cheek products too. So you have kind of more neutral blushes and a light highlighter, and then you get a little bit more colorful or brighter blushes on this side, and then a slightly deeper highlighter, but not super duper deep. So you just get a lot in here, a lot of variety. The highlighters have the same sort of texture as the Strobe and Glow palette, so same kind of situation there with those. The blushes though in this palette I like better than in that blush palette. I find that they seem to adhere to the skin a little bit better, so I find that they don't fade as quickly. So I like the blushes in here just a little bit more. I don't notice a huge difference with them, but just a little bit. And I just love that you get like everything all in one palette in this palette. That's why I love it so much. Again, this is $10 and you just get awesome quality products in here. You get variety. This would be great to travel with, other than, I mean, it's just a big palette, so that's kind of the only negative to travel with it. But quality-wise and variety and, you know, options in here, you've got it all. It's awesome. All right, guys, so that's everything that I've got to show you today. So a quick little wrap up on my standout favorites. I really like the Naturals palette. I think the Sultry is very pretty. But I think my overall standout favorites are the Strobe and Glow palette and especially the Eye and Cheek palette. I just love these. But really, overall, I'm very impressed with the quality of these products. I feel like Profusion has really just changed the game with their products. At least these products here are very nice quality for the price. So I am super impressed, and I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Please do a thumbs up if it was, and let me know down below if you've tried any Profusion stuff lately. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts and opinions? Let me know that down below. Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer those. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!